Hey there, welcome to Cocktail Mode, the podcast where me, Andy, and my good mate Dave pick a retro game and then try and pair it with a cocktail. This week we're talking about Stunt Car Racer. If you're an American, you may know it as Stunt Track Racer, but more likely you've never heard of it at all, since it was a mainly UK sort of home computer release. This was made by Geoff Crammond before he got into the Grand Prix series. If you don't know Stunt Car Racer, which I think more than most games might be the case, I say especially if you're outside the UK and Europe, published in 1989 for most things, with a follow-up in 1990 for Dave's beloved Amstrad CPC, the Amiga ST, Commodore 64, ZX Spectrum and DOS version were all published in 1989, which is about sort of when 3D games started to come to home computers a bit, like Carrier Command, which we talked about with Ian Oliver, was a 1989 game.
88 Carrier Command, yeah. But like you say, it was starting to become a thing.
Yeah.
It was something that a few people have tried, a few people have made a success of it. This is a viable thing that these computers can do.
Yeah, and especially with the ST and the Amiga coming along, it wasn't even that difficult for them. It's a racing game of sorts. It's more about you against the track than you against the opponent, or certainly it feels that way.
It's equal measures is
yes.
What I would say there.
Well, yeah, I think because it is a one-on-one race. There's always just two cars on the track, which sounds ridiculous when you talk about a racing game. You don't want any more cars on these tracks. If you've played Mario Kart, which I would be amazed if that many people listening to us haven't played some form of Mario Kart, you'll know the Rainbow Road tracks, which have nothing to stop you falling off the edge of. That's every track in Stunt Car Racer. Yeah. Every single one.
And with ramps and jumps and elevation to add into that mix to make it even more difficult.
And car damage.
Yeah.
Really dickish other car AI. It's incredible. It is. I mean, the easiest way to describe it is it's like racing cars around roller coaster tracks. That's pretty much the easiest way to describe it. The sense of scale is really, really good. I think certainly on the Amiga version, pre-race, it gives you like an image of these tracks almost in like a massive arena thing, and it really does give them a sense of scale that you sort of get the idea these things are hundreds of feet high. And I mean, so high that when you crash and fall off them, you can actually get your save state loaded before you hit the ground.
So that's how you finished it. When you said I finished the Amiga version, I thought, yeah, fuck off.
It's a hard game.
It's a very hard game.
There are 8 tracks in this game, and if you play through the I guess the sort of championship version, the single player league it's called, so these tracks are split up into 4 leagues and you basically work your way to the top. A run through of the normal mode takes about an hour if you edit all your all your successful runs together with save states. But before I started playing it again for this episode, I'd mostly played the Spectrum version, which is, along with the Amstrad version, by far the slowest version. I think I had once got to the top league.
Oh, okay.
But never beat it.
Yeah. I've never had a good amount of time with this game. It's one of the earliest games that my mate Barry had on the Amiga, so I got to see it rather than play it.
Yeah.
And when I did get a go, obviously I wasn't very good. I didn't get to learn it properly, so it never really sort of sunk in as something that I loved, but it was brilliant. I absolutely loved it. It's one of those games I've said before about Project X.
Yes.
Was one of the games that made me want to get an Amiga, and Stunt Car Racer made me want to get an ST or an Amiga.
Yeah.
Either of the two.
As I say, I was completely blind to these other versions existing. I absolutely loved it on the Spectrum. I went back and played it on the Spectrum after having played the Amiga version extensively this week. And it is cripplingly slower. Really is. And obviously the draw distance is practically non-existent. But the weird thing is, even with all that, the car feels and moves exactly the same even though it feels like it's in slow motion. There's something.
The game is still there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still exactly the same. And there have been sort of remakes and other things, versions of the games we'll come on to later. But it's just those early versions, no matter what they're running on the Commodore 64, the Amiga, the ST, all of them feel exactly the same, even though they're running at different speeds, which is, I don't understand how you do that. I just don't get it.
I have a theory behind that.
Okay.
So the original concept and design of the game was made on the C64.
Yes, it was.
So Geoff Crammond started making a different game. He started making like an off-road Land Rover-y sort of thing set on a moon somewhere. And he realised that it was dull as fuck. But there was a lot of fun to be had with using craters as ramps and things.
Right.
And then he switches it to sort of a more real world. And he thought, let's take the track and chuck it 100 feet in the air just for a laugh. And I think because the original design was done on the C64, when it gets ported to the Spectrum, the Amstrad, the ST, the Amiga, it's come from the ground up rather than coming from top down.
Yeah.
We've said before about the arcade conversions that people used to make, where it's like, okay, we've got this amazing arcade game and this piece of shit computer that we've got to put it onto.
Yeah.
What do we strip out to make it work? This worked from the start on one of the more basic home computers that existed at the time. So to bring it down a little bit to the Spectrum wasn't that difficult. To put it up a little bit to the Amiga and the ST, well, I'll say a little bit, up a lot to the Amiga and the ST. You know, it was just, I can do all those things I wanted to do before.
Yeah.
Better. So draw distance, colours, quality of life things like being able to see the track.
Sound effects.
Yeah, exactly. Also, as well, bizarrely, and I could be wrong. I think I can think of one other game that did this, but Stunt Car Racer, you could play on two machines. So you'd linked two machines and you could play two-player. You could also link Amiga and ST. So it wasn't limited to just the same machine.
I thought I read that and I thought it kind of went into the back of my mind. But that was an actual thing. I didn't misread something.
It's an actual thing. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think you could do the same with one of the early flight sims, Falcon.
Okay.
I think you could link an Amiga and an ST. I could be wrong, but I definitely remember it being multiplayer capable with link to another machine. Apparently there was an early idea to link it, to make it like multiplayer, like have a series of Amigas or STs in series and play like 4 players, 8 players, whatever. Wouldn't have worked.
No.
It would not have worked. I like the idea. Wouldn't have happened.
Geoff Crammond, if you don't know the name Geoff Crammond, you'll know him from the Grand Prix series of games, which are really highly regarded Formula One simulators, and they are simulators. They're very, very in-depth, quite often considered the best around. Certainly at the time, I think Grand Prix 1 and 2 were considered the best at what they were doing. 3 and 4 not so much, but this was before those. This is Geoff Crammond's third game. He made Aviator, which was a flight sim, and then Revs and Revs Plus, which were his first driving games, which again C64 developed on, so I think that must have been sort of mainly his platform. And incredible what he did with 8-bit machine for Revs. The driving feel and the sort of the amount of realism dragged out of some very basic graphics and a Commodore 64 is pretty impressive, really. And that's kind of his thing. You just look at it and go, well, that's quite impressive. But he's really big on creating the race and the series and the event, almost like he likes to have the things that you're not involved in exist in his games.
Yeah.
So in the Grand Prix games, if you crash out and you're not in the race anymore,
you have to watch the race.
You don't have to. You can choose to watch the rest of the race. You just sit there and watch it and it all goes on. And the AI in his games quite often crashing into each other and sort of behaving. And even in the Formula One games, it was 90s, 2000s Formula One, the reliability isn't anything like what it is today. So cars just blow up for no apparent reason. And that happened to you in the game, but also happened to other cars as well. And that was, I think, from what I've seen and what I know, that was his sort of USP for his games. They were obviously very technically very good driving sims, but also he was big on that world and that existing. And some of that you can see in Stunt Car Racer with the structure of the league. Like your first race in a league, so there are 3 drivers and 2 tracks. And quite often you're going in and your first race will be race 3 of 6.
Yeah, I noticed that earlier today for the first time ever.
Yeah.
There's already been a few preliminary races
two
by
races
the
have
other
happened.
two drivers.
Exactly, yeah. And it is because that there are free, quite often they have a race that you can't watch, you can't have anything to do with, but that result could have a bearing on what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And yeah, that feel of it existing is, I think it was clearly something that he's been passionate about for a long, long time, because there are like seeds of it in Stunt Car Racer.
Well, there is and there isn't.
Right.
Apparently, before he made Revs,
Yeah.
he had literally no interest whatsoever in racing of any form.
Really?
Yeah, he joined, I can't remember which team it was, he joined a Formula 3 team to create a simulator for them.
Right.
And his experience with those guys and getting to really get hands-on and delve deep into everything to do with a racing team and the way a car works and everything like that really piqued his interest. And from that moment on, he was hooked. So up until then, he could have been, a flight sim developer for the rest of his life. And we never would have got those great Grand Prix games.
No, I've never played them. I don't like sim racing games. They're not for me.
I played a ton of the first one.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was brilliant.
When I finally beat the game for the first time ever this week, you go back to the beginning and play Super League.
Oh, okay. The princess is not in this castle.
Yeah. You get to the Super League when you finish it, which is all the same tracks, but much, much faster cars.
And also blue.
Oh, and blue. Yes, it is blue.
One thing we haven't really mentioned is the way the tracks work physically. They're not like roller coaster tracks in that it's a rail going around. It's like a solid lump of road up to whatever altitude it is.
There's not even a strip of coping along the edge of this thing. It is.
Yeah, there's nothing. It's a very sort of red and white stripe race track looking thing, which then changes to blue for the Super League.
Of course it does. Yeah, sorry, but yeah, I guess the point of all that is to help with the sense of speed, isn't it? When you have alternating lines, and it helps with perception of depth and things like that. Obviously, in the Spectrum version, that doesn't exist. Everything's blue, my friend. Everything's blue.
Everything's blue. The game is entirely silent.
Oh, it's not. The 128 version isn't.
Is it not? Oh, okay.
No. The game is hard. We've talked about the game being hard. It's hard enough to get around laps of the track, and then you've got to get around laps of the track faster than the other cars, which is fairly easy, I would say. Very easy in League 4. Gets a bit more difficult in League 3. League 2 is hard, and League 1, you've got to go balls out all the way around. In Super League, they're even faster, and you still don't have enough boost to go full boost all the way around the tracks.
How do you win?
Apparently it's possible. I haven't done it yet. I haven't. Right. I've played. I think I played a season in League 4 and I didn't get promoted because I didn't win a race.
Wow.
I could be in front and then run out of boost. So then the other car, what it does, it must introduce boost management. So you can't just flat out all the way around. You've got to pick your moments, which you have to do anyway.
Yeah.
In the usual game. But I think it's like for even tracks, like the first two in the bottom league, where you can just flat out all the way around. If you want to, you'll break your car, but you can do it. But yeah, it was one of those things really surprised. But when you finally put in all those many hours to beat the game on Super League, the amazing end sequence, well done, you're an excellent driver or something like that. And that's it. That's all you get. Thanks, Geoff. Thanks.
He probably assumed no one would ever do it.
I mean, yeah. Should probably shout out, actually, another geezer. Pete Cook and Tim Ansell. Pete Cook did the ports to the Spectrum and the Amstrad. Tim Ansell did the DOS port. I haven't played the DOS one, actually. So I'm confused, Dave. You have said you played 3 races and then had to turn it off, but you've also said that you love the game.
Yeah, I love the game, but I've never been good at it.
Right. That's me about so many games. I completely get that.
I know how it works. I know what I should be able to do. I seem to struggle with it. I've always struggled with it. One of the things that always really knocks me off is 90% of the corners are banked.
100% of the corners are banked.
Is it all of them? Okay, okay. So all of the corners in it are banked, and there's a point where you can stop steering.
Yes.
And it will sort of auto correct and auto center you.
Yes.
I always seem to oversteer and come off the inside of the corner.
Yeah.
It's always been my problem ever since I first played it back in the Amiga days. And I still do it now. I don't seem to realize the point at which you can stop turning. Because my idea of a banked turn is that you don't need to steer because it's banked. That's what banked corners are for.
You need to steer, Dave.
I know you need to steer a bit.
Yeah.
But I steer too much every time. But like I said, I properly sat down and played the first 3 races of the bottom league earlier today. I really got them. I really figured it out. Like, okay, this speed to go over that jump and stop turning at this point. Yeah, I think if I sat and properly thought about it and played it through and save state scummed my way through it like you did, yeah, I could probably finish it as well.
Somebody had to record the video for our YouTube viewers, Dave. And
that's clearly a good point. It wasn't going to be me.
Yeah. As much as I save stated my way through it, I did get to the second to top league on merit. At one time I crashed on my last race when I would have qualified, and I loaded the save state. Yeah, but there's a couple. If you are watching the video, we tend not to talk about the video because most of our platforms don't have it, but on YouTube there's video. You will see I've left in a couple of failures in there because you don't have to win every single race because of the league structure, because of the free players. Even though there's only you racing, you don't have to win every race all the time. And I even skip a race, I think, because I was so far in the lead of the league, I didn't have to do the race.
Oh, wow.
Just occurred to me while you were saying that, and I've never thought of this before. Every single corner in the game is either 90 or 180 degrees.
Yeah, pretty much.
Every single one. It's never occurred to me before. You're just too busy enjoying yourself. You don't consider these things.
There is a track, one of the ones that I played earlier, that's got a little bit of an S-bend in it.
I think I know the bit you're talking about, but I think it's like 290s in quick succession, and they're only small.
Yeah, it could very well be 290s, but it's not long corners like a lot of these. Every corner in this game feels like a long corner.
Yeah. No, you're right. Some are sharper than others, and they are, as you say, quite long. The biggest difference, I'll tell you what, before we go into that, to talk through the tracks, in the first league there is, I'm going to try and do this off the top of my head, Dave, so I played this game a lot.
Oh, wait. Let me get the list up before you start embarrassing yourself. Because there's only 8, and apparently you've played all of them.
But to go into this, I played this side of the game I had on my Spectrum, and I played it endlessly. I adored it. And on the Spectrum, as much as the game allowed you to save your game, it was recording to a tape, so I never ever did it. And I got to the second league on that on the Spectrum barely. And then I've played it a lot this week. I played the Amiga version and got to the top league and won the whole thing, and then started the Super League. So the bottom league is Big Ramp and the Humpback. Little Ramp and the Humpback.
You fucked up already, honestly.
The first thing that came out of my mouth.
Track number 1, Little Ramp.
Which, as you can imagine, I think it's a triangle and one of them's got a little ramp on it.
Actually, it looks like the track layout from Daytona.
But with a big fuck off ramp.
Yeah.
It says little ramp. It's a big ramp. It's just little in terms of everything else in the game. Humpback is, as I say, there are no jumps in it. There's little gaps, but they're not really jumps. But the hump itself, because if you take off too quick up the hump, it turns it into a jump, and you can miss the track on the way down.
Yeah.
If you're going fast enough, and if you're going even just a little bit too fast, you can damage your car by landing badly. And this is the thing. The management of speed is what makes the game quite so challenging. League 2, Stepping Stones and Big Ramp. Big Ramp is a big ramp, but also 2 little ramps as well. And Stepping Stones, one of my favourite tracks in the game. I think it's probably technically track 3 out of the whole lot, but it is quite simple in general. But then there is part of it where you've got 3 stepping stones, so you basically have to jump over the small little gaps, and it really drives home to you the fact that as much as you can go 230 mile an hour in this game, there are times when you need to go 125 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Not 120, not 130, 125 miles an hour. And you glide over these jumps. It's brilliant.
It's
great track.
kilometres an hour, isn't it?
It's a British game. Geoff Crammond's British. So.
I'm pretty sure it's kilometers.
Oh.
I heard somebody talking about it earlier, and I thought kilometers makes more sense.
Why?
Because that kind of car going at 200 miles an hour doesn't make a lot of sense.
That's true. Yeah, it's
in a game that is quite bound within like physical reality, kilometers makes a lot more sense.
But I mean, the car on the box is almost like a drag racer.
Yeah.
And they go that fast.
Yeah, but the car isn't a drag racer.
No. It's a stock car, steel frame, tube frame stock car.
It's more like a buggy than anything else.
Well, it certainly gives that impression.
With a massive nitrous injector.
Nitrous injected 8-cylinder engine bolted to the front of it.
I'd love to speak to Geoff Crammond and say to him, like, what is that car supposed to be?
Yeah. It's an odd one, isn't it? Because
in game, it's very odd.
No matter what, all the versions of the game, when you see the other car, it's a wedge of cheese with square wheels. It is a representation of a car in the sense that a 4-year-old's drawing is a representation of a car. And your in-car graphic of what you can see is basically a steel roll cage and a steering wheel and a speedometer. And that's pretty much it.
And the flames coming out of the engine when you use the boost.
Which is
I love that.
Cool. Yeah,
that's always been my favourite thing in the game.
It is awesome. It really is such a cool little touch. Oh, and interestingly, on the Amiga and the ST, you can see the wheels and when they're turning and when they're not.
Yes.
Which is really handy for basically knowing when you've landed, essentially. But yes, where was I? I was doing tracks, wasn't I?
You got to Big Ramp.
Big Ramp. So yes, League 3, Big Ramp and Stepping Stones. League 2 is roller coaster and high jump. I know this because the roller coaster is my least favourite track of them all and the high jump is my most favourite track of them all. Have you ever raced on the high jump track?
Yes.
How did you find it?
It's not actually that bad. As long as you get enough speed up, it's okay.
Yes. I mean, the high jump part of it is just immensely satisfying. So it's a very, very steep ramp with basically a spire in the middle of it that you have to clear. And if you get your speed exactly right and you're feeling fancy, you can actually drive across the top of it.
I wouldn't recommend trying.
At 205 mile an hour will see you right. But it's got that one of the best features in the game, and it also has a banked straight. So as you go around, it's only a 3-sided track, I think. So it's jump, straight, banked, straight. So it might be 4-sided because then back to the beginning again. And it is, if you struggle with corners, it's hell because it feels like the corner ends halfway. So because the corner is banked and the straight is banked, you're so used to going around corners at 90 degrees usually that and then you stop turning and, as they've said, straighten up and go down the track. Because the track is banked, you do that and you either fly off the top edge or you oversteer off the bottom of the track.
I fell off the bottom of the bank straight.
Yeah, it's so easy to do. So easy to do.
I didn't get it. As soon as I saw it, I was like, wait, what?
Brilliantly, I didn't manage to do it on the Amiga, but on the Spectrum you can get back on again.
Oh, okay. What, bounce?
Well, no, you just sort of have to drive back and it fucks your car. But if you don't come off too fast, so you don't go miles away from the track and just steer back into the track. Because when you're on the ground and crashing, you can still steer. It's all very much a physical environment. It's like you can even, if you touch the side of the track, you can accelerate along it. Because there's a difference in the engine sound to being on something and off something. So it's all very real. But yeah, because that's a very low corner, it's very close to the ground anyway. Probably the closest to the ground any part of any track gets. So if you just accidentally sort of drift off the bottom and don't come off too fast, you can steer back and get back onto the track.
I don't think they're going to get that often.
No, I remember doing it.
I think it's something that's possible, but not likely.
No, I mean, as I say, when I played it on the Spectrum, those early tracks, and I guess up to League 2, I was very, very good at. I used to, if you get just 2 wheels off the track, you like grind the bottom of the car along the edge of the track. And I used to do that for fun on the Spectrum. Just because I could, and it doesn't actually damage the car, it just makes a horrible noise. But yeah, I genuinely used to go, fuck it, I'm just going to grind along that bit because it's straight and boring. And especially at the end of the races, that's an annoying thing about the game. If you damage your car with one of the holes after the finish line, doesn't go away.
You could wreck your car after the finish line and you're fucked.
Yeah, you don't win the race even if you went over the line first. roller coaster is not just because all these tracks are a little bit roller coastery, but because roller coaster, you start by going uphill right at the very start, and you have to go slow around the first couple of bends, and then after that it's flat out, literally flat out for the entire track, and it's the longest track in the game. So I find that quite dull to race, because I know to go slow around this one, I know to go slow around this one, and then full boost, full accelerator all the way around for like a minute and a half, when the other tracks are much less than that. So yeah, I just find it really dull.
For those that can't see Andy, as he's saying turn left, turn right, he's using hand signals. Don't record the fucking video. Stop doing it.
I was told, Dave, to be more energetic today.
I didn't mean using jazz hands.
You try and stop me, sunshine. Before I finish with the final two tracks, if it hasn't been clear already, I fucking love this game. I mean, it's 100% in my top 25 games of all time from the Christmas thing that we did. It wasn't Christmas, it was a 50th anniversary special thing we did. I would probably in my top 10 or 15 games of all time. I love it.
That's high praise for somebody that's been playing games as long as we have.
Yes. Yeah, and I don't say that glibly. I'm not,
Yeah, it's not a flippant thing, is it?
No, it's not. I loved it in I doubt I played it in 89, probably 1991 on the Spectrum, the slowest possible version of it, and I loved it playing it this week on the Amiga, the best and fastest version of it, other than the modern remakes and tweaks that are around. We'll probably come on to later, but it's just it's a fantastic challenge.
God, fucking hell yeah.
And I think the reason it's a fantastic challenge is because it really tests your restraint and your focus. You really do have to you have to remember every turn of the track, and not even the turns, the jumps and the speeds and all that sort of thing. I imagine people who play sim games, if they could get over the fact that this isn't in a realistic environment, would probably be really good at this game.
Oh yeah, that idea of like, right, coming into this left-hander, need to be good doing this speed, shift down into this gear, then on the apex, up into third gear, and then out. Yeah, they would be amazing at this.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's what it is. You have to, because I'm not, but this is just at my apex of concentration. I was playing it, I think yesterday, maybe the day before, and I was doing really well, and my phone was falling off my desk. My desk is slightly angled, and I could see it just sort of moving, and it was just like catching the corner of my eye, and I went flat out across a corner, just literally straight lined it off the end, because I was ever so slightly distracted by my phone moving. It's that sort of game, and I think it's just me and this game are on a very similar wavelength for the amount of focus and effort and just commitment you need in order to get better at each track and then beat the other person on it with you. The last two tracks are Drawbridge and Ski Jump.
Talk to me about Drawbridge.
Only track in the game with moving parts. Basically a bit like London Bridge rather than a drawbridge, really. It's got both sides go up and down.
Yeah.
As soon as you touch them, they stop.
Do they?
Well, here's the thing. I've always suspected that they do, and playing the remake, they 100% do.
Right. Okay.
So I assume that's something they've taken for the game, but it's really difficult to tell. It is really difficult to tell in game.
Yeah. There's not enough depth perception to sort of sell it, is there?
It probably is known, because I imagine if you stopped near the top, you would see. But I was trying for a long time to beat Drawbridge by copying the speed of the other car going into it. But because it is the final level of the game, the other car's really fucking quick. So it turned out by doing that, I couldn't then beat him to the finish line. I think I did once or twice, because there is a jump near the end that he slows down for some reason. But yeah, it's very, very difficult Drawbridge. But again, don't often talk about the videos, and I think it probably is because I recorded this week's that I'm doing it, so I apologise. But you will see if you watch to the end of that video, I nearly ruined the car in the very last deciding race to beat it. We haven't talked about the damage to the car, have we?
No, I thought we would come to that naturally.
Well, I think we just did.
Yes.
So it's represented, the damage to the car, by a crack that runs across the top of the screen, and then you get major damage, which is represented by holes. These are both in the sort of the roll cage section of the car, and it is holes. They're basically like circular holes. It is a representation of a damage rather than real damage. And when you get a hole, if the crack which goes from left to right meets creates the holes which build up from right to left, the crack goes faster.
And generally, that's the end of your race and career, isn't it? Doesn't it end the whole game?
No, it just ends the race. But because if you're doing that, your car's in such a shit state that you're probably not going to win anything anyway.
Yeah, but if you finish a race with a hole, the hole stays for the rest of the season.
Your entire career, yeah. Until
is it your whole career? Oh, fuck.
Well, when you get to Super League, it resets.
Right. Okay.
But from race 1 on Little Ramp to the final race on either whatever it is in the top league, you get a hole, it stays there, and then, so you get another hole, it stays there. I ended with 6, which is halfway across the bar, but I got 2 of them on the last race because I misjudged the fucking drawbridge.
Oh.
But
the holes are earned through like catastrophic crashes, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like if you come off the track for whatever reason and then bounce back into the physical track, you get a hole instantly.
Yeah.
If you crash so badly, like into a ramp or something, you'll get a hole.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, if you come off the track, you've lost the race anyway.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I reckon if you come off the track in anything other than one of the first 2 races, and it'd have to be fairly near the beginning as well, the cars travel so fast around these tracks that, you know, I think on the first couple, if you can stay on and you go pretty much flat out all the way around, you'll win by over 1,000 meters. But if you come off, that other car will be ahead of you by that.
Yeah, this is one of the problems that I've come up with a lot because of how bad I am at the game. If you misjudge a jump, or if you're launched off the track, it takes a good 20-30 seconds to land.
Oh yeah,
if the jump is big enough, it takes forever for you to actually smash into the ground, and then probably about another 5 or 6 seconds for the car to come to a stop, and then you get reset onto the track. And if you do it in just the right spot, the other car comes past you as you're restarting the lap, and you just think, I'm done. This race is over. I am done. I'm gone.
It's not so. As actually Dave just mentioned, when you get put back onto the track, you're actually put back onto the track by a crane. You just see two chains hanging off the car, and it kind of swings you over the track. It's quite a cool thing.
Did you know one of the funniest things you can do with that crane? Sometimes when it lifts you up, hoists you back over the track, because there's like a bit of a sway to it.
Yeah.
If you let go at like the apex of that sway, you could fall off the track again. Which is great fun.
I bet.
Because you know you've already lost the race, so you don't care.
According to the manual, in 2-player mode, you can drop your car onto the other car and possibly knock it out of the race with massive damage.
Wow. You'd be fucking livid, wouldn't you?
You would be. I mean, because that means you are about to lap the person as well.
Yeah, you're winning.
Yeah.
I love it. Talk to me about the other drivers.
I believe in my relative youth, I projected onto them different driving characteristics. I don't think they actually exist.
That's what I was getting to. Do they actually do anything different?
I don't think so.
Because they have names, things like High Flyer and...
Yeah, Roadhog.
Yeah. Do they actually do anything different? I've never seen it.
No, I don't think so. I think, as I say, I remember thinking that they did way back in the day. I think I projected that Roadhog got in your way more than the others and stuff like that. I don't think they do. I think they're all pretty much exactly the same.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes.
That guy's called Roadhog. He cut me off.
Yes, absolutely. No, they don't. But they don't need to, because the track is so fucking narrow. You can barely fit 2 cars side by side on it anyway.
Yep.
And on the Spectrum version, I should probably, of the 6 versions, I have actually only played the Spectrum and the Amiga version. The Amiga version, you hit the other car, doesn't really matter. On the Spectrum version, you get damage from hitting the other car as well as crashing. On the Amiga, you don't. It doesn't damage your car.
Oh, you get damage on the Amiga.
Do you?
Yep. You certainly get the sound effect, because it's a completely different sound effect to all the other damage.
It is. is. You get a different sound effect, but it doesn't register as a crack.
Oh, okay. I thought it did.
I am like 90% sure it doesn't.
90.
90, yeah. Which means
It's not 99.
basically means if someone told me I was wrong, I'd go, okay. But the Spectrum, you 100% do, and it isn't a different sound effect on the Spectrum. It's the same sound effect because
there's no sound effect.
The 128K version has sound effects.
It's a slightly higher pitched rat fart than it was before.
The thing is that the sound effects are really key to the game because you wouldn't notice quite a lot of the time you were getting damage if it wasn't for the sound effect. Which on the Spectrum, on the 128, is literally like almost like a tick, like it's almost nothing, but you know it's there, and you get it from little cracks and a little bit of damage just from going around corners a bit faster. You should have hitting ramps a bit faster, landing hard, yeah, absolutely,
yeah.
And then it's a different sound for when you get a hole in the car. But on the Amiga, the sound effects are incredible. The car creaks, it's just brilliant. I love the sound effect. One thing I struggled with more than the speed, more than the lack of colour or whatever, going back to the Spectrum, was knowing what was going on with the car, because the Amiga tells you through sound and the Spectrum doesn't, other than when you're getting damage.
Yeah, I was quite ready to rip the piss out of the Amiga sound effects because they're this horrible engine whine.
Oh, yeah.
That is the soundtrack to the entire game. But no, you're quite right. The feedback of what's happening is told through the sound as well as shown on the screen, but you're not really looking at that bit of the screen.
Yeah.
So you get this weird sort of crackle effect.
Yeah.
Pause for crackle effect. When you take sort of general structure damage, then there's a very specific pause for horrific hole sound. Which is when you've done something horrific to your car.
Yes. But yeah, I think the sound is exponentially worse on the Spectrum than it is on the Amiga, because it is the one sound for driving along the track and one sound for the engine whining in the air. And that's it. And if anything in this game encourages you not to be boosting when your wheels aren't on the ground, it's the sound effect of the car.
But that's why it exists.
Yeah.
That sound effect is there.
Now. Yeah.
Because the idea is that if you're in the air, stop accelerating, stop boosting, because it's wasted effort.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still accelerate, that's fine, but just do not boost. Also, the other thing is you can boost when you're being chain lifted back onto the track.
Yeah.
It's wasted. It comes off of your allowance.
Yeah.
I figured that out earlier today. I just accelerate and boost until it drops me. Oh, wait, the number's going down. That's not good. That can't be a good thing.
So it did at the start of the race as well, same thing, because at the start of the race you hang from the crane. They call it a drop start. So you hang from the crane and then the crane lets go and you start. And while you're hanging in the air, you can waste like a good few units of boost, and you're going to need it. Trust me, you are going to need it.
Yeah, depending on the track.
Yes, I guess so, yeah. But later on, 100%. It seemed on the Amiga version that certain tracks have a certain point at which they drop you. There was a pattern, and I started to learn it. I started so many more races. I started way more races than I finished. So it's yours to burn up. You can be crashing and burning all your nitro if you really want to. Up to you. Enjoy yourself. You're not achieving anything.
I mean, it depends on what it is, though. I mean, some of the tracks, whether it's not the massive big jumps where you do genuinely lose a lot of the momentum and a lot of the speed that you built up.
Yeah.
If it's something like, I think is it the roller coaster track that hasn't actually got any real jumps?
No.
There's like a huge incline up to like the high level bit of it. And then you come down a huge downward section.
Yeah.
But there's no real jump at the end.
No, there's no...
So you can sort of boost to get up the incline and then coast down kind of the back straight as it is, I suppose. Yeah,
it's right turn one, which you need to do slowly, and then you can give it some jizz over the... give it some jizz. Don't do that.
No, that's staying in. Give it some jizz.
you can do a little ramp without using any boost at all, because you only need to be doing about 130 over the little ramp, and that's easy.
But you will lose to the other car.
Yes, you absolutely will, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not how fast you need to go to make these jumps, it's how fast you need to go to make these jumps and beat the other car.
Yes, which is then, again, I did mention it earlier, but exponentially increased in challenge in the Super League to the point where I just didn't quite get it. And I probably don't think I'll bother. I think finishing it, the original league is enough for me. I feel the satisfaction of doing that when it bested me so often when I was younger. I mean, usually, to be fair, because those last two tracks feature some pretty amazing, huge jumps and timing that you need to get exactly right. My car was normally so fucked by the time I got to that last season. They would barely make it round, let alone win the race. My sense of satisfaction when I beat it this week was not dulled by the fact that it was the princesses in another castle at the end. I was stunned. The car goes so fast on the Super League that it clocks the speedometer. The speedometer is a bar rather than a dial. It goes up past like 230 and then comes on the other end and goes up again. And it goes so fast that you can't make corners at full speed.
Really?
There was a couple I tried and I just didn't get around at full speed at all. Maybe you can with a bit more practice, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
So quick.
Fuck that. I'm not playing this to that degree. I'm just not. As much as I love the game, I'm not that invested.
The interesting thing to me about the speed of the game, and I think I did mention this earlier as well, the Spectrum version runs slowly but feels exactly the same.
Yes.
As the Amiga version, which runs at a certain speed. And I think there's a cheat in the Amiga Live version of the game, and when you load it up, it's in turbo mode, and it goes even faster. And even with that on, to me, everything still feels exactly the same, even though you're going so much faster. It's like the cornering's exactly the same, the weight of the car, the physics of it, all feels exactly the same. To the extent that the PC remake that is, I think it's one guy making it, or no, two guys making it, and you can find it on the internet. We'll put a link in the description. They haven't got it right, and I knew immediately. Like immediately,
you could feel it.
Yeah, I was just saying, this just isn't right. And it's a brilliant thing that they're doing, and fair play to them. And it is a lot of fun, but it just doesn't feel quite right. Apparently, there are adjustments you can make to it to make it feel closer to the original game.
Yeah, depending on which one you've found, there are adjustments you can make in the frame rate, so you can downscale it to feel more like the Amiga version.
What I read about on an Amiga forum was that you could adjust the gravity, because it's the gravity that feels wrong. The gravity and the car angle, the car tends to stay pretty flat, it felt like to me, whereas as much as it never turns over any axis in the game, you never rotate either end over end or side over side.
No, it can't. It's limited.
Yeah, but you do pitch up and down very strongly, and I never felt like in that remake it was really doing much of that.
Okay.
But don't want to be negative about it, because it's a brilliant thing that those genuinely looks like two people are making.
Yeah, and that is a homebrew project as well. And
what they've done brilliantly is just keep like the graphics of the game look almost identical, but just up-resed. And they're even using the low-res in-car image. It's pixelated, so it looks. I think it's the Amiga version. Yeah. It's great.
The polygon, the sprite, whatever it is, the other car is probably costs more memory than the entirety of the first game.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But no, I love it. I played the remake for a little bit, and one of the great things about it is that it skips the whole league structure.
You say great, I say not so much.
Well, yeah. I was going to say you could argue that that's half the game is the league structure.
Absolutely.
For me, I just want to launch the game and do a race.
Yeah.
And I want to pick which race I do, and I don't care if there's a progression for a league or not.
Is that because there is no way in the world you'd play those top tracks otherwise?
Yes. Because I'm shit at the game. So if I want to play the hard levels, this is the only way I'll ever get there, basically. But it's really good fun because I get to see a part of that game that I would never have got to see at all. The remake does that very well. It strips away the whole League thing. Just says, right, this track, go.
Yeah.
Done. And you crash. Because you're shit and you don't know what you're doing and you haven't had the practice to build up to the point where you're good enough to do that track. But also, as you said before, you have to know these tracks. You have to know exactly how fast you need to be going to make that jump. You need to know exactly how fast to avoid going over that jump.
There's a danger when something's called Stunt Car Racer and it's, in what is not a 100% realistic environment, even though it feels the handling and all that is sort of based around realistic modeling. It's tempting to think this is just a fun, arcade style game, but it's not. It's not just about having a minimum speed over the jump. It's about knowing what the maximum speed over the jump is as well, because
if you go too far, you're fucked.
That we're talking about roller coaster. The first big climb you go up, if you flat out that big climb, you'll fly off the top and go straight off the end of the track.
Yeah.
And you just go. And you'll be falling for quite some time. You literally go and make a cup of tea, come back, load your save state, and then go again.
Yeah. I spotted a thing in the remake earlier on today that I'd suspected on playing it before, but had never actually been able to look at and prove. If the AI-controlled car takes off on a straight section of road, takes off on a giant ramp, and then there is a corner, it flies around that corner and lands back on the track.
See, I have played enough of this game to tell you that the original game never does that.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. It's one of the things you're saying about they haven't quite got the original feel of it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I watched an AI-controlled car fly around a corner and land on a track where I thought, if I do that, I'm going in a straight line for like a mile and a half before I even land.
Something we haven't mentioned. I mentioned in Geoff Crammond's Grand Prix games how the other cars can crash into each other or blow up. The cars in this game never make a mistake, never fall off the track, never crash.
No.
You can't push them off the track. It is impossible. I've tried so many times.
I'm not so sure, but I've got a feeling that it's entirely pre-scripted.
100%.
But the thing is, because of that, knowing that ahead of time before going into it, you can win with that knowledge.
Yeah.
So you know for a fact it slows down at this corner or it takes us jump at a certain speed, and if you're going that bit quicker, you'll fly over it or under it.
Yeah. So yeah, we've talked about this remake currently in the offing. 2 guys doing a great job. Kudos to you, my friends. We will give you a link in the description. There have been other attempts to remake it. I haven't really seen or played them. Have you, Dave?
I have. There was I think it's from 2001. There was an effort to not necessarily remake it, but remake it with changes to the original. So it's more of what you think of as a conventional driving game from that era.
Right.
With textures and like analog controls rather than the self-centering thing that the original has.
Yeah.
And bizarrely, it looks almost identical to the unfinished sequel that was due to come out in the 2000s called Stunt Car Racer Pro.
Yeah.
So whether there's some overlap there that, I don't know, maybe somebody working on on that version decided to try and make their own thing, but it's unfinished, it's unreleased as well.
Yeah. Geoff Crammond seems to be quite media shy. He does appear in the Bedrooms to Billions documentary for about a minute, and that's a 90-minute documentary, so it's not a lot. He actually said that he had been approached to sort of redo Stunt Car Racer quite a few times before doing what was going to be the PS2 version, Stunt Car Racer Pro. He was involved in that with some ex-Bullfrog people. And we were looking at this earlier today, Dave and I, and we noticed there was a crossover as the point that this was in development, and there are videos you can find on YouTube, we'll put some links in the description again, of the game from 2003 being the year that Trackmania was released. It leads me to believe the direction they were going with for Stunt Car Racer Pro, which looks very different to Stunt Car Racer and quite similar to Trackmania, that maybe the release of Trackmania, which was an almost instant success. Trackmania, it got a cult following, then a big following very, very quickly. And as much as they're very different games, they have the same thing, whereas they look simple. It looks like all you do is just go flat out around a course, but you 100% don't. You have to learn the tracks. You have to know the speed for the jumps. It's a very similar mindset that you need to play the game, as much as Trackmania feels a little bit more micro machines. But yeah, I'm very intrigued by that, and I wonder if that is one of the things that led to them cancelling Stunt Car Racer Pro.
I think there could be. It's hard to say because we've spoke before about games that came out around the same time that used the same sort of idea. And for all intents and purposes, it was like a parallel evolution of the same idea.
Yeah.
It happens all the times in movies. There's like Deep Impact and Armageddon.
Yeah.
Came out the same year.
This is not Stunt Car Racer.
No, the conversation was Stunt Car Racer potential sequel versus Trackmania.
Yes.
I don't know, obviously.
I don't think anyone ever will, really.
No, and I think short of interviewing Geoff Crammond, which would be like talking to God at this point.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't think we'll ever know.
No.
To be fair.
Worth saying that as much as they are very different games, Trackmania and Stunt Car Racer, I think if you like Trackmania, you'll probably like Stunt Car Racer.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think you should go back and look at it.
Yes, go for the Amiga version and make sure you got turbo switched off, because it's crazy. But yeah, there aren't a lot of games that feel and drive like Stunt Car Racer, so it's not one of those we can talk about all the variations. But it's interesting because another thing that plays into that theory, and it is just a theory, is that when Stunt Car Racer came out, Geoff Crammond was accused by some people of copying hard driving, which came out around the same time.
Oh, okay.
And he said, like, 100% no. His game was about 3 months from coming out when he even knew hard driving existed. So it was, and he developed Stunt Car Racer, was 3 years in development, which back then was that sounds like a normal development time. This is 1989. Games took 6 months to develop in 1989
at most.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting thing, and I think as you think of the human being, that happens to you, that you get accused of copying this other game and whatnot, and then you're making a sequel and Trackmania comes out. I can see you walking away from a project. I can see you just going,
fuck this shit.
Yeah. But this is 100% speculation. Let's not. I don't want to upset Mr. Crammond, because if the tiny chance we've got of getting him on at any point, I would jump at it. I don't want to piss him off. What's your thoughts on the music for Stunt Car Racer, Dave?
Is there any?
Not a single bar. Nothing on any version.
As soon as I said it, I thought, is there? I genuinely don't know if there's any music in this game. On any version, there's nothing, is there?
Nothing.
There's simply no music whatsoever.
Not on the intro screen. Not on, just nothing.
But again, it's that kind of game. It's strip it down to what it needs, what's required. Does it need music? No, it absolutely does not.
No.
So why bother?
Do you know what it does need?
You've obviously got an answer. So no.
Yeah, no, absolutely no. So you've done the right thing. But so in a game that to me is borderline perfection, I think on the Amiga they could have done replays. I would love to see some of these races from a third person perspective. Some of the things that go on, some of the things you do, I would love to see from a replay camera angle.
One of the things I love to do that would look amazing from a third person perspective is when you are catching up with the car that's in front of you and you're going so fast over a ramp that you jump over them.
Yeah, so it would look amazing on a replay. It would look absolutely the tits. I had a race where something else we mentioned earlier, I came off the track accidentally. I think I come around the last corner and came off the track and won the race off the track. I was grinding through the dirt.
Oh wow.
And won the race. And that was when it hit me as I'd love to see a replay of that, but there is nothing like that. So yeah, I think that is the thing. If someone said to me, I'm going to remake a Stunt Car Racer, it's going to be the Amiga version, it's going to be 60 FPS and you're going to have replays, I would give them like fucking whatever the latest Assassin's Creed cost twice.
But the caveat is it's got an awful Dreamcast era Sega soundtrack. So it flips between terrible dance music and terrible rock music. Like every 30 seconds. You can't change it.
We discovered in the build up to recording this episode this game called
Nitro Stunt Racing,
which obviously we discovered like literally 15 minutes before we started recording, so we've not played it, but it looks quite good. It doesn't exist anymore. It's one of these unfortunate games in the modern era that just disappear off the face of the earth, but you can find it on abandonware sites. It looks slick. It looks like a finished game. I mean, it might be, you can find videos of it on YouTube, but I guess it might be, when it comes to playing it, it might be terrible, but it's certainly something that I wish I had discovered before we started recording. We might do a roll cage episode in the future. I guess there's sort of similarities there.
Roll cage for me is an evolution of this, I think.
Yeah.
You have like elevated sections of track that you'll just fall off.
Yeah.
And come back onto the other bits. And following on from that as well, I don't know if you've ever played it, but there's a game called Grip.
Yes, I played it in VR.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
I fucking love Grip.
Yeah, I haven't played it much. I played it in VR and it was incredible. It was one of the earlier VR experiences that made me go, VR should be a thing.
I tell you what, Stunt Car Racer would have made for an amazing virtual reality game.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that, where you're driving down the track, but you can look across and see the rest of the track?
That would be cool.
Oh, that'd be vomit-inducing when you hit those big jumps. Fucking hell.
Ooh, yeah. Good times. When you take the realistic feel of the car, the handling, the suspension, the weight, the fact it can get damaged and will get damaged, I don't think there's anything that puts a car with that realism in that situation and makes it work like Stunt Car Racer does.
In looking up the history of this, I found out today that the car is actually not modelled on a four-wheel suspension system.
No?
No, it's a tripod.
Huh.
So the front two wheels are modelled.
Yeah.
And then there's a central pivot point at the back.
Huh.
So if you hit, I can't remember which track it is, but there's some like sort of like moguls. You know,
yes,
in downhill skiing, there's the mogul things, the hill things that you go between.
Yeah.
There's like some sort of little slopes that you hit left and then right, and they're just designed to sort of bounce you off balance. The front wheels hit them, the back doesn't.
Yeah.
So that's why it sort of feels the way it does. But like you said, I think you said earlier on, it does lean forward and backwards as well. So it's incredibly complicated. For when this came out, it's incredibly technical. Geoff Crammond designed this from the mindset of somebody making simulators and wanting to simulate the real world. This is not a simplistic game just churned out.
No.
A lot of effort went into this and a lot of design went into this.
Yeah, no, I mean, and 100%, and it completely shows. It just, as I say, there's something about the weight and the momentum, and it just feels like classy and strong and right. And okay, so it's obviously not realistic, but it's the closest you're ever going to get to that thing feeling realistic.
It's not far off. I mean, you hit a 45-degree ramp at 205 kilometers an hour, you're going to fly for quite a while.
Oh, yeah, you are.
Yeah. And I think this game captures it very, very well. I'd love to see, actually, if you took like a proper modern physical simulation of the things that are supposed to happen in this game.
Yeah.
How close it is to like a modern calculation of those sort of same settings and angles and trajectory and speed and everything.
Yeah, no, completely agree. I've been playing the game on Amiga Live. We've mentioned Amiga Live before. It's a fantastic. It's basically a way to play multiplayer games via the FSUAE emulator. But what it also does is take a lot of the faff out of using the FSUAE emulator.
There's a lot of effort that's taken away from that.
So if you just go with Amiga Live and open it, you basically choose a game and play it. There are two versions. This is actually another version we didn't talk about. In 2001, Stunt Car Racer TNT, or the new tracks, came out, which was not an official follow-up. It was a follow-up made by modders and people like that. again, doesn't get everything quite right. The design of the tracks isn't as well considered, but it's more Stunt Car Racer. It's just not as good. So I didn't really gel with it, but I can imagine many people would. And that's on there as well. But yes, on Amiga Live, there's actually 3 versions of the game. There's Stunt Track Racer, the American version, which will load up in NTSC mode, so it feels like the screen's a bit squished if you're in the UK. TNT, which is this sort of unofficial add-on almost, which is okay. And then there is the original game. If you go on Amiga Live and play it, it loads with infinite boost and turbo mode enabled as default.
Yeah.
Turn them off. One ruins the challenge. The other one, if it's the first time you've ever played the game, you do not want to be playing turbo mode on the Amiga as your first experience, because you are not getting around any corners. It is quick. It's a fun thing to play just for the experience. But yeah, start with the normal version. So I think it's F6 to turn off infinite boost, F7 to turn off turbo mode, and then play it to your heart's delight. It's fabulous. It runs perfectly. It looks brilliant. Amiga Live is a fantastic thing, and kudos to you. You'll get a link. You get a link every episode, I think, aren't they, on our friends of the show list?
They've fucking earned that.
Yeah, they really have. Interesting though, because previously, very briefly, Dave and I had a go at playing online against each other. We didn't realise that turbo mode was enabled.
Yeah.
And Dave hadn't played it for a very long time. We weren't particularly successful. But you will be, and you'll have a great time. Oh, and on that point as well, Torinak, which I've mentioned before, Torinak, which is an online Spectrum emulator with games built into it. They have Stunt Car Racer for the ZX Spectrum, as well as, lots of other very good games. If you're a Spectrum fan, I think you'll appreciate it. I think if you're not a Spectrum fan, you will go, why am I playing this when I could be playing the Amiga one?
Fuck is this shit?
Yeah, as the biggest Spectrum apologist in the world, I have no argument with that at all. The Amiga version is 100% the version to play. It's fantastic.
I like that you're a Spectrum apologist, not a Spectrum celebrant.
On this occasion, I think there are points where you're an apologist, and it's like if we were talking about Chase HQ, I would be celebrating the Spectrum as this is the best version of the game, other than the arcade. But there are no denying. I spent years and years of my life playing the Spectrum version, and it has a very huge place in my heart, but the Amiga version is exponentially better than it in every single possible way. Except maybe nostalgia, and that's not really quantifiable, is it?
Yeah, no. You can never convince anyone that the Spectrum version is better than the Amiga version.
No. The argument to be had is whether the Amstrad version is better than the Spectrum version.
I don't think it is.
The Amstrad version is slower. It's got more colours, but it's slower.
I've played both. I would argue that the Spectrum version, by virtue of being faster, is better.
I agree.
But weirdly, I never bought it on the Amstrad.
Did you not?
I didn't feel the need to. I'd seen it on the Amiga.
Oh,
I
yeah,
knew
I guess,
it wasn't worth buying on the Amstrad.
If you think about impressiveness, how impressive a game is, and I think the C64 is probably the most impressive version, because 89, the Amiga and the ST been out a bit.
4 years, 4 years at that point.
And that sort of 3D and the speed they were running, I don't think would have been, ooh, look at this amazing thing. It would have just been, this is good, and it is. It's very highly rated on those platforms. But the C64 doesn't look or feel a million miles away from the Amiga version. It's not close.
Because that was the genesis of it.
Yeah,
that's where the first version was made.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think if you just want to be impressed by something, the Commodore 64 version is pretty impressive. And it's
very brown.
It is very brown. There's something weird about Commodore colours, isn't there? They do have weird colour choices.
I genuinely think that's one of the reasons I prefer the Amstrad over the Commodore in a lot of different versions. Just the colours are nicer.
Yeah, we're talking about with Shadow Warriors, weren't we? The colours just look terrible.
And I think that's a NES thing as well. There's a lot of odd colour choices in NES games.
You might be right. You might be right. Anyway.
It never looks quite right.
Let's not slag off too many very popular machines.
Fuck it, let's go for it.
Okay.
Oh, while we're on the subject, did you know that a Jaguar version was in development?
I did, but only because I read about it. I don't know anything more than that.
Obviously, it never came out.
No.
But wouldn't that have been amazing? That could have been the thing that saved the Jaguar from the fate it befell.
I mean, it wouldn't have done, but it would have been great anyway.
I genuinely think, though, that there should have been like a mid-90s PlayStation era version of this.
100%.
Would have been brilliant.
Yeah.
It would have completely fitted into the ecosystem that was around at the time. You have things like Micro Machines V3 coming out.
Yeah.
Loads of like attempts to make everything that was old current. Let's take this thing that's only like at that point, 6-7 years old.
Yeah.
Let's make a new version of that. Still within the realms of people who played it back then will still be playing these games. Let's get a new version out there.
Yeah.
Maybe they tried. Maybe Geoff was just, fuck off, I'm still making Formula One games.
Well, he was, yeah. Formula Ones were going until 2004, I think.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the fifth generation, that PlayStation Saturn era, was the last time games could be, I think, really different and still really popular. The PS2 era and the Xbox was when it started to get the journey towards where we are now. Started with the PlayStation 2 era. It started with the homogenization of games. There still were experimental things going on.
Kill originality.
Yeah, absolutely. You really started to dig its heels in around that era. The PlayStation era wasn't, and the PlayStation, I think that would have been a great time to do Stunt Car Racer again.
Yeah,
because the hardware could handle it. They could have done the graphics with ease, and it still could have been balls hard because it didn't need to be an easy game to sell. It didn't matter anymore at that point. Yeah. I think that's a great shout. Well, and yeah, when we mentioned Roll Cage and it being sort of similar-ish, but that was PS1. If you've not played Roll Cage, by the way, it's like Wipeout, but in a car that's actually on the road. It's the pithy way to say it.
With a Fatboy Slim soundtrack.
Yes. Ugh, for God's sake, they have to ruin everything in the 90s, didn't they? Let's get on to cocktails. I think we've covered everything about the game, so let's try and see if we can come up with a couple of drinks to go along with it. What did you come up with this week, Dave?
I thought about mainly the tracks. The tracks are the thing that really triggers a memory. When you say Stunt Car Racer, I picture some horrific jumps that I go too fast into and fly over, and the stepping stones thing that I never quite got right, where it's like up and then down and up and then down and crash. Then reset, then carry on. Anyway.
I think up and then down and up and then down and then crash could be the blurb for that game. Could be on the back of the box.
Maybe not even up and down and up and down. It's just up and down and crash.
Yeah.
That's it. Done. But yeah, the tracks for me are the big thing. One of the tracks that I really love is the roller coaster track because it sums up the game better than any other track, I think. And the moment of that track that sticks in my mind is you've got the huge uphill struggle section which you have to boost through, otherwise you lose position to the opponent car. Flattens out at the top, you go around the corner, and then there's a huge downhill section. And I fucking love that moment when you're screaming down that downhill bit, and it's like shit. At some point it's gonna end with a ramp or a turn and I'm gonna die. But for this little few seconds, I'm going down this really fucking steep slope at like 230 kilometers an hour, whatever it is. Yeah, literally like fly free like an eagle before the inevitable crash at the inevitable turn that's at the end of it.
90-degree right-hander.
Yeah, exactly.
Into another one.
Yeah. You know it a lot better than I do.
Oh, I really do.
Yeah. The drink that I've gone for is called the Downhill Racer, which is a very, very simple drink. So 3 ingredients, 50 milliliters of Havana Club Añejo 7 Años Cuban rum.
7-year-old rum.
Yep. 50 ml of rum. 15 milliliters of Adriatico Amaretto liqueur, or Amaretto, as we call it.
Yeah.
And then 45 milliliters of pineapple juice. So it's very, very simple. But yeah, sounds quite nice. I drink that. I like rum. I like pineapple juice. There's a tiny bit of amaretto in there to add a bit of flavour to
Bit
it.
of sweetness, bit of almond, bit of nuttiness. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of nut.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Everyone likes a bit of nut in their drink.
There's not much to it. There's no history on difference for it.
Well, nothing at all.
No, like sort of pre-written history. There's a few comments, but there is a great YouTube video by a guy called Steve the Bartender where he makes this.
Steve the Bartender's a great YouTube channel. If you're into your cocktails, you probably listen to this bit and go, what the fuck are you two on about? But other than that, you probably already know Steve the Bartender. He's very passionate, very much knows his stuff, and very, very instructional, very sort of wants to get other people involved. Good guy.
Yeah.
Nice sounding drink, though.
I tell you what, as simple as that is, rum, a bit of nut, a bit of pineapple juice, I'm pretty sure that's a nice drink.
For the first time in as long as I can remember, I am out of amaretto at the minute. Otherwise, I'd make that and let you know.
So what have you got for us? What's your Stunt Car Racer cocktail?
I had a journey looking for this one. I was searching around for all sorts of things on all sorts of websites and was coming up with some odd things. From everything I showed you, you look for speed, you look for crashing, you look for racing, you look for all of this that I looked for.
Airtime.
Yeah, all that stuff. In the end, you start to think a bit more about, what makes a great game, as we know, is risk versus reward. I mean, there's basically, if there's risk versus reward in a game, then it's pretty much, you're going to have at least a fairly good game. It's the key, certainly to me, it's the key component of a really great game. So I started searching for that sort of a thing, and I found on the cocktails subreddit a good few years ago now, a guy called Steve Cutchin, who's still active on Reddit, so I will drop him a message and say thank you. He created a drink called the Genuine Risk.
I like it.
Yeah, because it does. If you take a risk in this game, which normally you don't, normally you bottle it and you hit the fucking brake hard, it is a genuine risk because it can break your car for, as we said, the entirety of the season. The whole thing, you've got that damage in your car. And you will probably lose the race as well. So it's that real balance. It's a Campari drink. And I think anything with Campari always makes you think of a Negroni, because that's kind of the number one. It's like saying whiskey cocktails and the
old fashioned.
Old fashioned, thank you. But it's named after a horse, the first female horse, the first mare to win the Kentucky Derby, which comes from the fact that it's based on a drink called the Gloria. There'll be a link in the description, but the sort of the growth and the spins and the things that he's done to get to this point, this name and this cocktail is actually quite interesting, but it's not, I'm not going to read it for you. There will be a link. It is 2 ounces of bourbon, 2 ounces of sweet vermouth, half an ounce of Campari, half an ounce of Cointreau, and a dash of Peychaud's bitters. I was delighted when I found this recipe because I was going
to say, that sounds right up your street.
And because it's right up my street, I have all those things. So
what are the bitters? You said Peychaud's bitters.
Yeah, Peychaud's bitters. They call it like a Creole style bitters. It's very different in taste to what the Angostura is, the bitters that most people have. You normally have, I think when you're building a cocktail cabinet, you'll get Angostura orange bitters. And I reckon Peychaud's is probably the next one on your list to get because it's very popular. It's in a lot of cocktails, and it's hard to describe really. It's kind of on the peaky side of herby. I don't really know how I can't describe it, but it's the most famous use of it's in the Sazerac, which is a lovely cocktail. So yes, that's what it is. It's really, really nice. It's unusually for a bourbon cocktail. The vermouth means that it starts off really sweet, and probably the Cointreau as well, bringing that into it, and then ends bitter. Lovely. But yeah, pleased I found that. I couldn't find it anywhere else other than on this Reddit post. The thread of the Reddit is actually what's your one go-to original cocktail recipe. So clearly something he's developed himself. He does a very similar drink. It is also mentioned, it's called the Vanzo Post, which is the same ingredients in different ratios. But yeah, he clearly guy knows his stuff. He's very, very active on that subreddit, talking a lot about these things. He seems to be a big Campari fan. So I will drop him a message and thank him for that, because I was losing my mind trying to find something that I liked the sound of and could actually make, and he got me out of a hole. Which when you get in a hole in Stunt Car Racer, you're stuck. There is no getting out of it.
Yeah. It's that moment in one of the jumps where you don't have enough speed and you just land in the gap between the fucking jumps.
So painful.
This game it's the Dark Souls of driving games. No other driving game has this much hate for you. So, you weren't going fast enough to go over that jump. Tough shit, you're dead. That's it.
You were going too fast over that jump. Tough shit, you're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything has a window, and those windows get smaller and smaller as the game goes on. After we recorded, I think it was Star Fox, we decided on the next 2 games we were going to do, one of which was this.
Yep.
And apparently we also decided that a game after that would be NBA 2K.
Yes.
The second basketball game we've done.
Yeah. And also the second basketball game you've ever played.
Yeah. No, that's not true.
It's not far off.
I think it's probably...
NBA Street. You played NBA Street.
I was going to say, but I think at the time, NBA 2K would have been the only other basketball game I gave any time to.
Yeah.
Because NBA Street came after, and the Street series is magnificent. But yes, outside our retro and also after NBA 2K. A Dreamcast game is how I think of it. Did it come out on anything else?
Possibly. I only know it as Dreamcast.
Excellent. I'm really looking forward to that, not least because I recently got myself a VMU Pro from 8-Bit Mods. It claims you can have basically an almost infinite number of game saves on it, because basically it takes up to a 2 terabyte SD card, and you can imagine how tiny in that a little section of Dreamcast a game is. It's just bonkers. But also you can emulate any 2-button console or handheld and play the games on a VMU. It's insane. If there was ever anything that showed how far this sort of technology has come in 26 years, it's that. If you turn it off, the battery lasts weeks, not minutes.
Yeah.
I put some batteries in one of my Dreamcast VMUs to try the VMU to VMU transfer facility just to check it out. And literally, in the time it took me to figure out how to make this happen, the batteries ran out on the VMU. From out of the packet to in the VMU to transferring one game to trying to transfer another one, dead. Yeah.
What is it? The light that blurred?
Twice as bright, burns half as long. Oh, I mean, if ever it was true of anything, then it's the Dreamcast. But yeah, NBA 2K, I'm really looking forward to going back to that.
Oh, I can't wait.
I just remember it being a really nice balance of playability and real basketball, 5-a-side tournaments, leagues and all that, but with a sort of an element of playability and enjoyability that made it just so accessible and fun to play. Looking forward to that, and that will be next time on Cocktail Mode, where gaming and alcohol are in our blood.